Victor Zhang is a master of startup. He was part of a core team that sold their tech startup to eBay for $165 million. He raised $6 million from the likes of Mark Cuban and other high-profile investors, and now he is working on software that will enhance NFTs forever. Be sure to stick around for this one if you're interested in NFTs. You're going to learn how to value NFT. You're going to understand how to know if an NFT project is going to be worth something, and you're going to understand some details about NFTs that will make you pretty much an expert in NFTs. Also, I'm having problems with YouTube. They've already shut down my channel twice because I talk about crypto. For some reason, crypto channels are being sort of shadow banned or something like that. I don't know. My lawyer told me that I have to basically set up my videos on other platforms, so I created a link in the description that takes you to all my other platforms where I post other content that is not always on YouTube. So that's why I ask you to click on the link and find other platforms to follow me on, especially on Rumble and these other platforms. Anyway, see you on the other side. Welcome back, everybody, to the DYOR Crypto Founders Report. Today, our guest is Victor Zhang. He is the co-founder and CEO of Songbird and Alchemy NFT. They created Alpha Wallet, TokenScript, Autograph NFT, and he was also a part of a core team of a tech startup that was sold to eBay for 165 million USD in 2016. Victor has a wealth of knowledge about NFTs. We're going to talk about the Loot Project, and Victor has some information that he wants to share with us about the Loot Project, about how it can technically be a better project. And we're going to talk about different NFT projects because Victor is also a little bit of an NFT collector himself, and I'm very excited to have him on the show today. Welcome, Victor.
Thank you very much for inviting me to the show. Well, thank you, Mustafa. It's a great honor.
Yeah, thank you. It's really great to talk to you because I've been trying to get into the world of NFTs myself, trying to wrap my head around the principles and the concepts around NFTs. And when I saw that you were building an NFT project, or something that implements that you're implementing some technology that will improve NFTs, I was really excited to talk to you about that. So, so you're all the way you're in Australia, right? Sydney?
Yes, based in Australia, Sydney. Most of the core team are in Sydney.
Wow. We were talking about that a little bit before the interview, and you mentioned how Australia is like the end of the world for most people.
Yes, it's in terms of business, because it's kind of far from everywhere. Even if you want to fly to Singapore, it will take you like 8 hours. Not saying fly to Europe, US, or China. It's a long flight.
Yeah.
And also the population here is not much, so the local market is not that big. But there's also a good point. First thing, the weather is very nice. It's one of the most comfortable place to live
Really?
in. And yeah, and also there's a lot of really creative people, have a lot of crazy ideas, and they are not afraid of putting those putting those crazy ideas into practice. So the overall startup environment is very good. Many talented people, and people are willing to take risk. So yeah,
You know, I
that's why.
didn't know I didn't know that about Sydney. I didn't know that it was a world of full of people who are interested in startups and technology. You're actually one of the first. I think you're pretty much the first person I interviewed from that side of the world. I've talked to people in Hong Kong, and I've talked to people in Beijing and different parts of China, but never in Australia. When did you get to Australia, by the way?
It's I think almost 13 or 14 years ago. So I got my master in IT degree in Australia. So that is where I started with Australia. And after that, working in Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore, mainland China, between these locations. And after all, we settled down in Australia, Sydney.
Mm-hmm. So what made you choose to, base yourself in Australia? What was the, sort of deciding factor for you?
I think we see the trend that is the location is less and less important in terms of doing business, especially with all the technologies nowadays. We are able to do Zoom calls, meeting with people, although it's not face to face, but still have the right feeling. So that means more important for location, more importantly thing is the culture, the environment, whether you feel comfortable, whether that is the place you want to raise your family with. Uh, so in terms of these criteria, Australia for me is like a very good option. Oh.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about your background. What's your origin story? How'd you get started in tech?
Sure. I actually my education background is always with tech. So it's a double E for bachelor and then IT for master. But throughout my early career, that is more related to business. So I start my career with the sales, BD, and then covering a little bit marketing side, and then go to general management. So as you see, the last company I work for is called Tokenization. It's a Spanish startup. Used to be the largest online ticketing secondary market.
Mm-hmm.
So for that business, I'm one of the early team member, helped them open up business in Singapore, China, Hong Kong, Korea, Japan, and Australia. And after in 2016, we sold it to eBay, 165 million. And after that, actually during that period, I already invested a little bit in mobile application, cross-border e-commerce, but most of the business still alive, but they are not really growing into like any further stage. So I'm not a good investor in terms of investing in early stage companies.
Mm-hmm.
So since I have the tech background, so I'm always interested in new technologies. When mobile come up, we did a kind of a startup with some friend to doing something not very similar, but it's like an online dating platform because at this stage there's no online payment solution. So for our platform, it's a kind of a creative idea. We use the top up mobile phone as the way to do payment uh, to other people. You can reward other people with the top up is a mobile phone because that is a mobile platform, mobile application.
Mm-hmm.
And also we did something in the past with a lottery mobile application, those things. So I always have an interest
Mm-hmm.
for the tech. And in
Yeah.
terms of mm,
So
what,
you got into at some point your career switched over to blockchain. I'd love to know how you discovered that.
yes, since I'm always interested, so I always catch up with all the new technologies, new things to see whether those new technologies can be benefit with the industry I'm working in. And in early 2017, after I quit the previous work, I did some investment and I looking more into the blockchain space. I read the paper for Ethereum and Bitcoin, and yeah, it's exactly technology. And at beginning, I just thinking to adopt blockchain technology in ticketing industry, try to see how we can use that to improve the ticketing, event ticket secondary market, the integration across other different platforms, those things. And I trying to form a team just to build that ticketing use case. But after all, it's quite difficult because during that period, most of the people who really understand the technology is either recruit by large finance institution or very well-funded fintech company or some very well-funded ICO project at that stage. And there's a lot of people saying they are expert in tech, but even for me, I can tell they are not expert. So I've been searching for the early 2017 until I meet one of my key co-founder, who is the current CTO of the company. So then I know this is a true expert. And instead of I sell the ticketing use case to him, he sell his blockchain vision to me. And then we agreed to do this, our blockchain startup.
Wow.
And during that time, yes, it's very interesting. So his background is also very interesting. He started, he's a Chinese. He started invest in Bitcoin since 2011 and contribute to the Bitcoin code and fork the Bitcoin 3 times to do those altcoin project for other business. And after Ethereum come up, he also did the architect work for 7 ICO project. And then he immigrated to Australia. And after he landed in Australia, he's recruited by the largest bank in Australia, the Commonwealth Bank. He worked as the blockchain architect in the Commonwealth Bank. So lead more than 20 different bank-related blockchain projects. So that is the time when I meet him. He's working for Commonwealth Bank. And the way we meet each other is very interesting as well. So during that period, I'm in Singapore and he's in Australia, Sydney. And I approached him through LinkedIn and he mistakenly thinking I'm another victim. So he think I'm another people. And after we have a quick chat, he agreed to have a meeting with me just after 3 days. So we met on LinkedIn on Wednesday. He fly over to Singapore to meet me during the weekend. And even my wife told me, like, be careful, it's maybe a scam or something. Because normally people don't do things in this way. But we spend 2 days, the weekend together, discuss, share the vision, talk about many things. And then both of us know this is the right people can work together with. So on the following week, I fly back to Sydney to meet him and his team in Commonwealth Bank and discuss what will be the next step. That's everything, where everything started.
Wow. So you went to go sell your ticketing project to him. He ended up convincing you to look at blockchain. Yes. And in a turn of events, he comes back to Singapore to visit you. And that's where everything started.
Yes, definitely. So
and
I trying to sell him.
Go ahead.
I trying to looking for his technical feedback on how to build a blockchain-based ticketing platform. And then he showed me his vision on tokenization, which is all type of tradable rights can be tokenized using blockchain. And after tokenize all those tradable rights, first thing is all those tradable rights go into a frictionless market, can be traded freely. And the second thing, which is also more importantly, is all those tradable rights can be served as integration point to actually integrate the internet, integrate all type of services to achieve unlimited integration, to provide next level user experience for all the people, and also to free up the integration, the service market, to make it really a better place. So that is the vision all of us believe in. And we start a company at the end of 2017.
And was that Songbird? Was that the origination of Songbird, which is the company you're CEO of now?
Yes.
Very interesting. And I noticed that I was researching you a little bit, and I see that you're an expert in tokenization. And for those who don't know what tokenization is, could you give us a brief description of what is tokenization?
Yeah, it's very simple. Blockchain is a programmable smart ledger. so we can record any type of tradable rights onto it. So that means that if we're using blockchain to record the ownership of tradable rights, and also using smart contract, using blockchain to define the transaction rules of those tradable rights, how it should be transferred. If I transfer it to you under certain condition, all those things, then we say that is tokenization, tokenize the tradable rights. And tradable rights itself can be anything. For example, I have a car, I have a glasses, I have an earphone, I have Bitcoin, I have Ethereum, I have DAI, I have different type of tokens. They are all tradable rights. Basically, it is like I have something or I own something. And if that something is transferable, the ownership, then it is considered as a tradable rights, which is on the opposite is I own my ID, but ID is definitely not transferable. So that is not a tradable rights. That is a rights I owned, but it's not tradable.
So someone's identification is not tradable, but you can pretty much tokenize anything that's like an object, your car, your house, your paintings, your artwork, those kinds of things, right? That's really interesting.
Anything. And how to bond that actual rights with the token on blockchain, that is a different story. For example, we have those native tradable rights, like we have Ethereum, cryptocurrency, and we have DAI. And the way how we get DAI is we use smart contract to kind of do the conversion. We lock Ethereum and then we mint DAI. So for this DAI to representing the rights, which is to redeem the underlayer Ethereum, and also it's have the bond price with the US dollar. So for this right, it is actually just bound by the smart contract, by the blockchain itself. So you don't need to trust any other trusted third parties. You just trust the blockchain, then it works. But for other type of tradable rights, for example, even just like the NFT collectibles, those digital arts, they are actually, you have to introduce extra trusted third party to make it work. For example, in terms of digital arts, the first thing is you need to understand when you're buying this NFT, what exactly it is representing. Whether it is representing the overall, the full IP rights related to this creation, related to this digital art, or it's simply representing a collectible rights, which enable you to rendering a picture on your user agent, on your mobile phone, or on your internet browser. These are very different. So most of the people they cannot even tell the differences, but there's big difference. For example, if it's representing the overall IP rights, then how this overall IP rights is bound with the NFT on blockchain. That is actually bound currently. A lot of in most of the case, it is bound by the reputation of the artist himself. It's not like a verbally saying, okay, I give you the full IP rights and that's it. And some of them is bound by the actual legal contract. So that means when the artist mint an NFT token, he actually signed a legal contract on the platform to agree to give out all the IP rights related to that digital art itself, to use NFT to representing those IP rights. So that means there's an extra trusted party. So you need to trust the law, no matter where this law is governed. You need to trust the artist, or you need to trust the platform. But there are still benefits, even by introducing an extra trusted third party. There are still benefits to tokenize those tradable rights.
Very interesting. So, so certain items that are tokenized, depending on where you are, they may or may not be, you may or may not hold the intellectual property rights to that token or that item that's behind the token. Like, for example, maybe I can buy a token of someone's painting, but they still own the rights to that painting.
Yeah, of course.
The IP to that.
That is actually
go ahead.
Most of the that is actually most of the cases. Most of the NFT art, if you go back to see the minting process, if you cannot find a legal contract where bound the full IP rights into that token, then basically what you are buying is just what we call the collectible rights. And by having that collectible rights, the only thing you can do is rendering a picture on your mobile or on your browser, or to see it. You are not even allowed to do recreation, or you are not even allowed to print it on your T-shirt because you don't own that rights. You cannot authorize other people for commercial purpose. Yeah, of course.
So let's use the example of some popular NFT project and let's analyze them. So let's say CryptoPunks or Bored Apes, or even the new project which we're going to talk about, Loot. How are those sort of structured, and what are the rights of the holders of those NFTs?
For Punk, it's kind of interesting. They didn't state saying they still reserve the IP rights, and on the same time they didn't state saying when you own a Punk you own the full IP rights. So it's like a blur gray thing. And for Ape, that is also very good example. For the crypto Ape, they specifically explained you own the full rights. So basically, you own everything related to that digital creation. You can authorize other people with like a subsidiary commercial rights. For example, you have an ape, which is very popular. Everyone love it. Even Coca-Cola want to print it on his Coke. Then you can authorize a license to them to do that because you have the full IP rights. But if you go back to the Punk, if same thing happen, two things may happen. One thing is it just happen in this way. Another thing is the Lava Lab may stand up to say, you don't own the full IP rights. I never gave you the full IP rights. Those things are still reserved by us. Because naturally, if you don't use a legal agreement to transfer the IP rights, then normally it is still reserved by the original creator. It's same like a CryptoKitty. For CryptoKitty is another way around. They have a specifically stated in their terms and conditions, all those KT picture, all those creation IP rights is reserved by the company, reserved by the studio. So that means the people who buy a CryptoKitty, it's just purely a collectible rights. Plus you can use it in CryptoKitty game. That's it. You're not able to print it on your T-shirt. If you are a manufacturer, you buy a CryptoKitty, you think you can use it as a picture on your to print a T-shirt to sell. No, you're not allowed. You breach the you're doing something illegal.
No, that's I knew I would learn something new today. That's something that I was not aware of. I'm glad we've had this conversation. Hopefully a lot of people who are watching this will also realize that when you're buying the NFT, just because you own it, it doesn't mean that you have the full rights, to intellectual property rights to that. You may have collectible rights. You may have the full intellectual property rights, but you have to check. Otherwise, you can get in trouble for recreating it.
Yes, because as I mentioned, the blockchain itself, it can only record the ownership of a rights and also define the transaction rules. But what exactly that right is normally defined outside blockchain, unless those things are a crypto native thing, like the example I mentioned, like DAI, because DAI is generated from ETH. ETH itself is a decentralized network, so you can treat it as there's no issuer or there's no trust anchor besides the blockchain itself. So for those things, it's a you can thinking the rights is issued by blockchain itself. So as long as you trust blockchain, then it's okay. But for other type of rights, another example like the experiment we did in 2018, we working with a FIFA official, tokenized the 50 FIFA World Cup tickets using Ethereum blockchain. So for those tickets, the people who buy those tickets, they actually bought rights, which enable them to be sitting in that stadium to watch that particular game. That is the rights they bought. And all other, even for that rights, FIFA have a claim. They have the full rights to do whatever they want. They can cancel your tickets. They can do all those things. So that means if you bought the NFT tickets, and the event organizer, they actually still reserve the full rights. They can cancel your tickets. After they cancel your ticket, what happened? You just holding a NFT, which is still recorded on blockchain, but on the same time, the right is gone because the right is provided by FIFA.
I see. Yeah. So that's a complicated area that I think there'll probably be a lot of debate on, but it's very interesting. I personally, I own a couple of small NFTs. I own a couple of Cardano bits. I don't own the any of the expensive CryptoPunks or anything like that. But I noticed you on your Twitter, you have a CryptoPunk on there. That's really interesting. People should go check it out. There's also a really nice thread on there, a pinned thread of like describing like what is an NFT, and it goes into a lot of detail, which is I think people should definitely check out your Twitter page and read that pinned thread about what is an NFT. And then I like those diagrams that you have on there, and it really gives people the technical understanding of how it works. But what's fascinating the most to me is how can someone come up with a project like Loot, that Loot project that just came out. Have you heard of it?
Yes, it's a very interesting project. It's like a combination of several successful elements to make it where he is today. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, the creator is the guy who created Vine actually
Yes,
created it, and he's involved in a lot of things.
yes.
But this project, for some reason, it just it's a newer project, but it really did. What's fascinating to me is it's not like a CryptoPunk project. It's not like it's kind of like a art NFT and a gaming NFT, like a metaverse NFT. I don't know how to define this Loot project. How would you describe Loot?
I think that is the part where why people why a lot of people are interested in. Because if you don't define it clearly, then it seems there are unlimited possibilities. And then then it's very fulfill the current crypto traders taste because they are not interested in something have like a fixed price value. Like they know this thing will have a increase like a 20% every month, and they will have a stadium return. They are not interested. People in crypto space, they are interested in like 100 times, 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And how to get those 100, 1,000 times, that is based on like how far you can imagine. And then it's, yeah, so that means that if you preset uh, all the things, then it's kind of limited people's imagination. And then at the same time, they won't expect that is 100 or 1,000 times return.
Wow.
So it's very interesting combination. As I mentioned, the founder is who make the wine, so he definitely understand the social media, how to what is people want to see, and also how to do those those viral information passing, those kind of things. And also, this is not like a suddenly success. He made some other NFT project before, and there's some similar concept. Like he even make one project which is even more empty than Loot. Loot is like they give a very brief story background, and then they gave a very abstract items that is purely by text, even without the graphic. But before this, he actually did something even abstract. But that project didn't go to anywhere. So see, there's a kind of a balance. If it's abstract, then it's good. People have all the imagination. If it's too abstract, then it becomes no one can understand. So this time it seems that he poked a very best spot, and then instantly it boomed. But at the same time, I do see there's a lot of what they call crypto influencers, those KOLs, is helping with broadcast the information, share their thought. It's a little bit too quick. Because normally, if a project launch, people need to do some research, and then you can write those very long article or very long tweet thread. But this time it's like they launch a project today. In the afternoon, there's a boom, 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 boom. Several big KOLs start writing that very long thread, trying to explain Loot from their angle. And each angle actually introduce a lot of new imaginations. So these things brings in huge interest for the overall crypto communities. But we will see how it goes.
Yeah, this is just fascinating to me. I can't believe that a creator could create this project. It's literally text. It's literally a JPEG with text on it, and they were free. The whole launch was interesting. He said them he made it free. You just have to mint it, pay gas, and then immediately they're selling for like 25 ETH, and it's just unbelievable to me that something
That
like
is
that.
also another kind of an important element. If you're looking back, so the POW network, Bitcoin or Ethereum, is kind of like a fair launch. So that means everyone can participate. You're mining, you get reward. And for the most popular DeFi project in the previous wave, the most popular one is doing that so-called fair launching. That means everyone start from the same place. For the creators, for the team, I don't claim ownership. I don't do pre-mine. I don't reserve tokens. Everyone on the same page to start, and they become very successful. And for this Loot is kind of same. They don't they because they don't claim the ownership, and they don't do those they don't sell it. So that means it's not like they make a product or service they sell to the customer. No, they kind of put on something and then trying to let everyone have an ownership feeling on that, and everyone on the same starting point. So that means that they are not benefit in terms of a finance reward, they are not benefit more from other people. But of course, they gain huge reputation and a huge influence power on the project. That is another thing. But people seems more willing to participate in this type of more kind of a fair way project.
Yeah, it's also very attractive to newcomers if they can get an NFT for just the gas and have this thing go up to worth $50,000 or and up in just a few days. It makes it very attractive for people, and he's a very smart person. His name is Dom on Twitter. Very interesting and fascinating. It seems like it was an experiment, and like you said, he was experimenting before. What's interesting to me, though, is that it's not explicitly defined as an art NFT. And it seems that it's actually being defined as more like a gaming or metaverse NFT. To me, it does.
Yeah.
But I don't think it matters at the end of the day, right? Um, so you mentioned that you mentioned to me before the interview that you had an answer to Loot's technical vision. Loot's has maybe what is the what are some of the technical issues that Loot is currently dealing with, that in your opinion?
So the thing is, they actually provide a background, or you can say they kind of like a user generated IP building process. So that means all the stories, all the items, all those characters, all those things, it may generate it by user. And also there may not be like a one game. There may be hundreds of different games. So different game provide different experience for all those loot token holder or loot derivative token holder or whatever other token holder which is related to the same IP. So that is what happening now and what they envision to happen. So everyone everyone coming to build this story, this IP together, and then there will be some challenge. For example, whether the token can be portable across different games. So you have a loot. In this loot, you have 8 pieces of item, and you break it down. That part is okay. You break it down into 8 pieces. For that, you can easily lock the loot bag and then use another contract to mint 8 separate items to representing 8 separate NFT to representing the 8 item. And one of the item is a sword, and you want to use that sword in game A, and you also want to use this sword in game B. So and this sword can have certain properties at the very beginning, but when you go into the game A world, for game A to understand what is this sword means, he need to have the full knowledge of this sword. So not only the knowledge on blockchain itself, because as I mentioned, on blockchain is only record the ownership and also the transaction rules of this sword. For example, like what is the color of this sword? How heavy is it? What is the magic attached with it? What is the function? How to use it? What is the attack power? How easy it can be break? All those things, they are not stored on blockchain. So this, but also is important. Otherwise, when you are in game A, you have some function, and when you're in game B, you don't have those functions. So we need to make the full knowledge of this sword portable, not only the smart contract part. Then how to make the extra knowledge portable across different platforms. So this will be a challenge they will face it. And one of the solution or one of the way to do that is using the framework we proposed called the token script. So basically you can thinking as besides the knowledge logic stored on smart contract, you also have a kind of an instruction manual, a markup file for that token, serves as a token interface. And that file can be signed by the issuer and contain all those knowledge, and then put it together. It has a full token, like a full knowledge token. Then it can be portable across different platforms. So when you go into game A will read knowledge from the blockchain and also read the knowledge from the file to provide you the full experience, that kind of things. So that is the token script part. And as I mentioned earlier, how to open your loop bag to take one item out, how to if you take the sword out, how are you going to add a jewelry like a magic stone into the sword to make it even more powerful? All those things. So those parts can be achieved through our remix smart contract. So that is mainly for that function. So that's why I said it's kind of like a perfect match. So we're already working with a few community creators who willing to build game on top of Loot, and some of them just want to create some derivative items, like create some digital arts based on the Loot concept.
Yeah.
So all those people, they can kind of utilize our tools to achieve their ideas.
Really interesting. So you're basically taking an NFT, which is otherwise just a token, and you're adding a layer of knowledge to it that is portable and can go from one game to another to another. So you can actually use your game items in different games. So you don't actually have to buy it again to use it in a different game. That's fascinating. I never thought of that. I don't think anybody's thinking about that right now.
People thinking about this already, but they didn't see the challenge part, because they think as long as you have an NFT, then it's already portable. But that is not the truth. If you have an NFT using the digital art as an example, currently it is portable because of the image standard itself, like JPG, PNG, they are standardized. So that's why your token is portable. For example, if someone created a new digital format, which is not very popular, and they mint an NFT arts, and then this NFT will only working in this particular wallet or in this particular browser, in this particular website. As soon as you transfer it to other people, when other people using a different wallet app, they won't be able to see it. So this is the problem with portable. That means although you own this NFT, you cannot see the picture at all. So the picture is just the most simple utilities. In the game scenario, this is much more complicated. Even in the real world scenario, it's even more complicated. For example, the tickets thing we did. So the knowledge of how to actually interact with the gate, that need to be portable. Otherwise, I transfer my tickets to you. You are using a different wallet. You cannot go into the gate because that wallet don't have the other half of the knowledge. It can only recognize the smart contract part, because smart contract is publicly readable, and they have a standard like a ERC 721, or the smart contract standard. So as long as the wallet know that, they can be able to display the balance, display the name. But besides that, how about other knowledge? So,
and
so that is quite
what you
important.
call token script. This is what you created at Songbird, right?
Yes, and we package token script into Alchemy NFT project. So it's part of Alchemy NFT now. So under Alchemy NFT, there's a group of Ethereum-based smart contract doing those ownership related logic, like remix, combinations, separate, all those things. And on the same time, there's a token script framework. You can simply thinking as to add another interface for the token to be able to connect token to other services. Or the other way around, you can thinking as to add unlimited utilities to those tokens, portable utilities.
Yeah. So what's your current favorite NFT project?
Man, I think Loot is quite interesting. And of course, because we hold some Loot, we will say that. That is the interesting thing for blockchain.
Yeah.
If you own a token of a project, it will be very difficult for you to say anything bad for that project.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's doing very well. So, so you've collected different ones though, right? You've collected. I know you've CryptoPunk. Um, that's how did you know that? I mean, you've been in blockchain for a long time. You obviously can see very far into the future. You can see these things better than other people can. So What is it that gives you that edge, you think?
It's actually I don't treat myself as a good investor, although we can see we believe in the technology vision, so we see what will happen, what these things can enable. But in terms of what to invest it in, I don't think I can give any good advice, because for me most of the NFT I collected in the early stage in like a late 2017, 2018. It's more for experiment. For example, Cryptic Kitty come up. Oh, I want to try. I bought some and play with it. And like a super rare is online. Oh, it's a crypto art. So I bought one art piece and that's it. Multiple project like Axie come up in 2018. I bought one Axie to just have a try. I still have I think hundreds of different NFTs from that age. And recently, when this time the NFT wave coming, I yeah, I don't think I made any good investment. It's more like if I if I see something, it's kind of interesting, and then I just bought it, and I never sold anything until now. For 4 years, I never sold any of my NFTs. People making offers. I think I filter out all the OpenSea offers in my inbox because it's too many. Every day is like hundreds of offers, different people making offers to my NFT collections, but I never sold anything. Oh.
It's unbelievable. How has the demand changed since 2017? Have you seen, obviously, you're seeing a lot of offers now. Was it like that in 2017 or?
No, definitely no. I have the same exactly same account, and I can trace back my email record. It's not saying 2017, even in 2020. I hardly receive an offer. There's zero email, zero offer. No one making any offer to any of my NFT collection. And my collection didn't change much. It's purely I start from the beginning of this year. Uh, the people start happy about the NFTs, about this type of asset. They're hoping like a good return. Uh, and they start having those professional trader, professional investor in NFT space, professional market making people. They are doing those professional work to make the market for NFT, to facilitate the trade. Oh.
Yeah. So it seems that your edge is that you do experiment a lot. You experiment. You see something interesting and you just go in, you don't um you don't speculate, you experiment. So I think that's really what is the secret there. Um but if you were to say, like, for the future of tokenization, what are the different, like, we have art, we have gaming, we have different kind of, right now it's art and gaming is what I see the use cases are for. What are the what can you see that is not being talked about right now, the use case for tokenization that is, you feel confident that is going to be the next thing in tokenization?
So it's for those art and gaming, we can kind of categorize it into one big stage, that is the digital creation. That means record the tradable rights related to digital creation. Maybe the tradable rights itself is just as we discussed, it's just the collectible rights, or maybe the rights itself is representing the full IP rights of a digital creation, or maybe it can representing other type of rights. For example, some utility rights to be able to use those things in the game. All those things, it can be anything, but it's currently all around of digital creation.
Mm.
Within digital creation area, we see those digital collectibles, digital art, game item, and
Music,
uh, yeah,
music
and
and
we can
video.
see
Mm.
Yeah, we can see any type of digital creation. So what I'm thinking is besides those existing use case, even just for the digital creation, there will be more and more rights being tokenized.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when we're doing this broadcast, this is your digital creation.
Mm-hmm.
You naturally own the full IP,
Mm-hmm.
and you are able to tokenize this full IP rights with one NFT, and on the same time, you can use this NFT to kind of authorize other type of tradable rights, like maybe one day you got very popular, very famous, and this very early stage broadcast becomes like a collectible. And of course, you can use this full IP rights to issue collectible rights. People can mint other NFTs which representing collectible rights, maybe have a beautiful picture or whatever thing, or maybe have your autograph on it. Yeah. And on the same time, maybe there's another TV channel want to use this content. And then you can with your full IP rights token, you can issue another NFT token which representing the commercial rights for certain usage, and you sell it to the TV channel, and maybe that TV channel maybe it's exclusive rights. Then other TV channel also want to have it. Then they can be resold peer to peer, and there can be royalties for you, all those things. So basically, once you make a digital creation, no matter what format, text, video, or music, or whatever format, once you have it, I envision there will be, in the near future, there will be, when you create that content at the same time, the creator will mint one NFT or many NFTs to representing different type of tradable rights related to this digital creation. Mm-hmm. And all those NFTs, first thing is can be traded freely in the market. The whole blockchain is a market. Anyone can buy it, anyone can sell it, resell it. It's a frictionless market without boundary. That is the first thing. And the second thing is, as I mentioned, it's an integration point. So for other people to build other services, to provide other services to the token holders. So it's not only, for example, you mint one commercial rights for other TV channel to be able to exclusively using your content. And this is a token. And this token not only enable them to use this rights to use your content on their TV show. Maybe there's another service provider also want to provide some services to this TV channel, but this TV channel need to prove they have this type of commercial rights from you. Then this token becomes the integration point. They can prove this verifiable information peer-to-peer between themselves. So it's basically enables the whole service market. So there can be different kind of third-party utility, third-party services added in to the token you issued. And these things come back, kind of add value to the token you issued, together with the frictionless market, which basically highly increase the liquidity. So these two things, the increase of liquidity and the increase of utility, come back, add value to the token you issued. The tradable rights comes from your digital content, which come back to actually add value to your digital creation. And you just need to define like a new business model, how to capture those value increase. Then you can be benefit from it. So that is like the digital creation stage. And think on the same time or after we pass this stage, then it will be more related to like a physical world, real world. Mm-hmm. For example, those experiments we did in the past, we tokenized the car ownership with a Karma automobile, and that POC also be redoed again with one of the largest car manufacturer in Japan. I cannot say the name because that is NDA. It's a private POC to prove the concept internally. So those things are related to kind of physical rights. So that means to consume or to redeem or to realize those rights, it will require other services or other things, and that thing may be not digitalized yet. It's like a car. So with that car ownership token, your wallet instantly become your car portal. You control the car right from the token interface. And because it is a token, of course, you can trade it, transfer, resell, use it in smart contracts as a collateral to issuing securities, all those things. And on the same time, as I mentioned, it becomes an integration point. You can use it to integrate insurance companies. When you go to an insurance website as a car owner, you don't need to sign up, don't need to sign in. You don't need to tap what is your car model. You don't need to submit documents to prove you are the real owner and this car's condition. You don't need to submit all those things because all the information is carried by this token. And those are verifiable information. So as soon as you go to a website, you allow the website to read the information from your token. They have the full context. And instantly they give you the right insurance policy. With one click, deliverables payment happen. You get the insurance policy, they get the money. And they don't need to spending time to verify your upload the PDF documents to cross-check with other parties to see whether those things are real or not. Because it's already verified, it's proved. Those things are tokenized. So then eventually it will benefit the overall economy to connect the what they call real world. But all of us, everything is real, but they call it real world economy to connect real world economy into the blockchain world. And the blockchain itself serves as the common trusted third party for all type of tradable rights to be traded freely, to be integrated across different platforms. So that is the thing we believe will happen, and we want to contribute to.
Wow. I have not heard it put that way before, but first digital creation, and that's going to be tokenized before the real world tokenization. Interesting. Really, really interesting. And thank you for sharing that vision with us.
We did many real world things, but people not that interested. So that's why we think it's still too much early. For example, we did the tickets, we did the redeemable voucher, we did the car, we did the advertisement board, we did the time token, VIP membership card token, all those things, Airbnb token. Our office in Singapore is controlled by NFT. So each guest will issue them an NFT, then they can use the NFT to prove to the IoT devices and to open the door, close the door, those things. So so those things are interesting, but we think it will be step by step. So starting with the crypto native, all the kind of derivative synthetics recreations based on Ethereum or based on existing token, those things will happen. And then there will be other type of digital creations, which is not natively created by blockchain, but at least they are in digital format. So it's much easier to link with the blockchain token. And after that, that will be the next stage, like what we did in the past. And that definitely will benefit the economy. I give you one example. We did also an experiment with one of the Sydney local council, a small council. They are aiming to help those small business owners. And the way the solution we propose, we help is we allowed a coffee shop to issue coffee voucher. And those coffee voucher are NFT, non-fungible token on blockchain. And at beginning, you may see it's a stupid idea because they can issue other digital format of voucher already, or they can issue those paper voucher. They can pre-sell it or do all those things. But that is not the case. after they tokenized their coffee voucher, each NFT representing the rights to redeem a physical coffee. So it has certain value into it. Then of course they can do pre-sale. They can sell it to their customers to get some money in advance even before they provide the actual coffee. That is one thing they can do in the past, and they can do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe slightly convenience, but more importantly, they think after they tokenize their coffee voucher, they are actually be able to connect it to the blockchain-based finance world. So after they issue those coffee token, for example, they issue 1,000 and they sell 100, and they still have 900 of those coffee NFT owned by themselves. What they can do is we set up a simple smart contract, a securitization smart contract for them. So they are able to lock that 900 coffee token into that contract, and on the same time provide a term, like how many days, like what kind of interest they are willing to pay. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side, this smart contract will generate securities like bond for other investors to buy those security to support this business or to treat it as an investment. So that means it's kind of you can kind of thinking as the coffee shop kind of tokenized their product and service, and they can use those tokens as an asset to trade it or to use it in the blockchain-based finance world. Give them an alternative way to do financing. That means that now they don't have to go to the bank to prove their income, all those things, to borrow the money from the bank. And normally the bank not that interested in those small business. Nowadays, they can use their own credibility, mm-hmm. their own trust, yeah. to guarantee the redeemable of those coffee voucher, and then turn those coffee voucher into a blockchain-based asset, and then use those assets to participate in the blockchain-based finance. So this will means a lot for those business, and it can extend to any type of product and service. It don't have to be a coffee shop. It can be a supermarket with a redeemable voucher. It can be a car manufacturer. The car token itself is like a redeemable voucher for you to redeem a physical car. It basically can extend to all the industries.
Yeah. What came to mind when you were talking about it is you can issue stocks in the form of NFTs, because there's a certain number of stocks out there, and they're but yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you want us to tokenize a piece of your company? Something like
to
that.
Tokenize a piece of your company, it will be better using fungible token.
That's right. Yeah.
Because when you see whether the rights related to that token have to be used as a whole. If, for example, like event tickets, you need to use the rights as a whole. You cannot use half to attend events. Then you use non-fungible token to record those rights. But for example, the ownership of a company, it can be cut into unlimited pieces. And even if you own 0.00001%, that is still something. You don't have to own the full company. So for that type of rights, you use fungible token to represent.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. So, you kind of already hinted at this. It's going to take a long time.
Definitely.
But yeah. How many years do you see, how many decades into the future is this going to take for the world to become completely tokenized? And or if everything can be tokenized, how many decades do you think will take to get there?
I don't know, and I don't even know where will be the most important starting point.
Yeah.
Like Amazon's bookshop for internet.
Yeah.
And until now they become AWS. we always want to be that AWS and also to fund our bookshop, but that is not something easy. So that's why we are doing a lot of experiment, trying so many different kind of product, and yeah. On one hand, we do see these things will happen. It will definitely will happen, and we believe it.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, we don't know when it will happen, and also it will happen through what kind of path. We predict one path, and we working on that path, and at the same time, we changing the path, consistently changing the path, but we are not even sure whether our path is the right path to go to that end. So it's very hard to predict. But I say there are at least like maybe 5 to 10 years, because currently it's still considered a super early stage. There's so many missing pieces to really make those things happen. For example, the coffee shop thing I explained. Yeah, it sounds simple, but there's so many break point in this whole thing to make it really happen. For example, the key management tools, the wallet user experience, all those things, how to let people managing their own private keys, how to let them know they are interacting with the blockchain, how to maintain the same level internet user experience for those people who are already familiar with the internet-based services. So yeah, and also how to maintain the privacy. That is also a very big topic, because blockchain itself is against privacy. Everything is public. So how can we use it for business logic where require privacies? There's so many things need to be solved before we can really having all those use cases. And to solve all those things is not possible. Sorry, it's not. It is not impossible. It is definitely possible. It will just require a lot of research and engineer work, and also a few breakthrough in the technology side, and then eventually we will be there.
We need more people thinking about these things, more people working on these problems and grinding away at them. And we need big tech to start focusing on these things too, because I mean, they've got the brain power, but they are keeping it to themselves.
It's because because our team have the experience with the largest bank in Australia.
Yeah.
So among those 20 bank related projects, they all working. They all benefiting the service other service providers, and also benefiting consumer, definitely. But on the same time, one thing is those solutions not benefiting bank itself very much. They don't generate extra revenue. And the second thing is to go down on that path to further develop, no matter which solution, it will all lead into one end, which is remove the bank, no more bank. Because the bank itself serves as the biggest trusted third party in the finance world. So they are the tester to attesting so many different assets to guarantee so many different transactions happen. And naturally, people is naturally different kind of a blockchain solution. They are kind of replacing this trusted third party to trust blockchain instead of trusting them. So all the solutions, although they work, they can benefit other party besides the bank, but it's a lead to the end, which is replace them. So after we develop all those things, they just put all those things in the safe. They keep it as a competitive advantage. Wow. If, for example, other bank moves, then they will, okay, we have it as well. We follow it as well. But for them, they don't have the motivation to move. It's the same thing. That is in the finance world. The same thing like Facebook, Google. They are benefiting from being the integration center. So they are the biggest trusted third party on internet. So they, for example, you log in with Google on so many different platforms. So they are the party to verify, to attest these things. and all the other services is integrated into their platform. And that is how they build up their business model. So if we say, okay, let's do like a login with Ethereum to get rid of Google, or if we say let's do a decentralized integration, let's remove this centralized integration platform to move the integration point to on the user side, then they lost the most valuable thing they have. So it will be very challenging for them to really do something. Of course, they are doing something and they will do something, but it will be fundamentally very challenging for them because ultimately they think it's replacing their position.
You know, for some reason, I never thought of it like that. I never thought of it like that. That's thank you for enlightening me on that. It's really a conflict of interest for banks and big tech to be working on this technology, and so therefore, the effort that they put into it, the work that they put into it, they're gonna keep it to themselves, and they're gonna try to build a competitive advantage with it, so that they don't lose their advantage right now. It makes a lot of sense. Um,
Yeah.
but I hope that some kind of shift in the paradigm of thinking changes in the society, and you know, really what I think is going to come down to is, you know, what caused um, people to be more um, willing to meet online and, you know, order food online and using, you know, all of this technology we have. We had a lot of people were reluctant to that pre-COVID. Nobody wanted to do online meetings. Nobody wanted to
Yeah.
go on the camera and talk like me and you are talking right now. And then the event occurred, and that was the catalyst for all of that. So I think the reason why we can't see so far into the future, or when are these things, we don't know what kind of events are going to happen. There's going to be some kind of catalyst events that will force the solution to come out, and that will prioritize it for us and tell us what we need to
Yes.
be working on. So I got that insight just from listening to you talk. So thank you for
So
sharing that.
I see a small trend. That is, first thing is blockchain drag in more and more investment, more and more money.
Mhm,
So that means that there's more and more money. You can think as more and more money being tokenized on blockchain.
mhm,
So that is a continuous increasing. So with NFT, with DeFi, with all those things, there will be more and more money coming to this space. And eventually, it will be big enough for like a real world other type of business to do financing through blockchain. So that means there will be like a first car manufacturer, first coffee shop, and then first car manufacturer start to tokenize their product services, and they purely doing finance based on blockchain.
mhm.
And then those things will grow, 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 grow. Eventually, all those like a product service provider, asset holder, like a property owner, all those people,
Mhm.
they using blockchain to record their ownership, and they using blockchain to do their finance. And then there's there will be no place for the bank
Mhm.
because they don't do finance with the bank anymore.
Mhm.
They use this alternative solution. And the
Y-
same thing, you know,
I just thought of, you know, when I said stocks earlier, I was thinking, you know, I really should have said issuing debt. I really should have said bond issuing, because you can
mm,
issue, you know, I think tokenization of bonds might be something. What do you think about that?
yes, bond is a good use case for NFT because
Hmm.
each bond have a very different categories. It's more complex, complex compared with those uh, standardized asset. So that can be something, and it's guaranteed by the company itself.
Hmm.
But there's a heavy regulation related. That's why in the coffee shop example, it's kind of smart. We are not the coffee shop is not issuing bond directly. So they are issuing tokenized product and service.
Mm.
And then with the help of like a third-party smart contract, and that smart contract can even don't have a entity behind. It's just a smart contract on blockchain. There's no way for regulators to regulate it because there's no people behind, and the smart contract itself just keep running there. With that smart contract, the coffee shop owner can easily securitize it, the coffee watcher into bond. And then they are not the bond issuer. They just use this as smart contract. And if the based on the existing regulation structure, the regulator need to regulate that smart contract because that smart contract issued the bond actually. So by doing this, that is something possible. But if you ask him a company to issuing a blockchain-based bond right now, they will facing a lot of so many different challenges. It will be very difficult.
Yeah. So we're still too early for something like that. But another idea I thought of is, Elon Musk, he can issue allocations for his vehicles, like you said, a car manufacturer. So it's like, here you can buy an allocation. There's only going to be 1,000 of these cars made, 10,000 Tesla trucks or something. You buy the allocation for that. Maybe you don't necessarily buy the actual vehicle, but maybe you can buy the spot on the line to get one or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And when you say not actually a vehicle, that is exactly, if you're looking at the all existing online e-commerce platform. So by the time you place an order, what exactly you are buying? In their system, you can thinking as in their system, they transfer the ownership of a token to you, and that token representing the rights for you to redeem the actually physical product. So there's already this kind of tradable rights passing through from the manufacturer to the platform to the sales channel to you. So by using blockchain, you can actually free that rights from a locked centralized platform to an open platform. So that means that you can actually hold that rights, and you can actually resell it, not only just redeem it on that platform. So that will enable so much more other services built on top.
I really am very excited for the future.
Yeah, definitely.
I think having this conversation with you really filled in a lot of sort of vague areas and really filled in color, put in a lot of color to my idea of what NFT is. Can you give us a brief, maybe, description of the future of the Alchemy NFT growth? What is the vision for Alchemy NFT? I know you have a plan for the next few years. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
So on long term, as we package TokenScript framework into Alchemy NFT, so we want the Alchemy NFT becomes the platform or the tools to enable any type of NFT use cases. So that means that they can use the Alchemy NFT smart contract to record ownership of a certain tradable rights, to define transaction rules, and on the same time to use TokenScript to give the token a portable interface and to add all kinds of different utilities into that token. So that is on the long term. And on the short term is currently, this time we don't want to be too early ahead of the market. We want to be more focused on what is the current market. So that's why we build this autograph NFT product. So that is highly focused on collectible. So if we see collectible, then one of the most powerful and simple collectible is autograph from another people. And since we are in digital space, the autograph can even come from another thing. So you can have an autograph from Coca-Cola. That is possible. So yeah, and you can attach that autograph to whatever NFT you have, and then instantly to add value to that autograph. So that is the first product we already launched on Ethereum and also on Polygon. And after that, we have a line of several other products as well, which is also built on top of Alchemy. And for Alchemy NFT, we do have a token, and the plan is to have a public token sale in this year, but the date is to be confirmed. And yeah, so that
I will
is
definitely
the.
be looking into that. Do you know where will you be publishing the information about that?
It will be mainly through Alchemy NFT Twitter and Discord.
Okay, I'll be sure to link that.
Mm.
Also, I noticed you guys just raised $6 million to set up an
Yes.
NFT platform. Is that new? Is that recent?
This we announced the news recently, but
Mm-hmm.
actually the fundraising is done by April.
Mm-hmm.
But we just reserved that PR because we want that PR to help the drive the adoption for autograph NFT product. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why we released the PR together with the autograph NFT product.
Yeah.
And we are quite lucky to have several very visionary and reputable investors
Mm-hmm.
like Mark Cuban, like a framework mechanism, like a crypto.com, Hashkey, Langhash, 分布式, 火币 exchange, OKEX exchange.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
mm,
I'm gonna link that article. I'll probably link your Medium blog there because that's where I found that. But yeah, congratulations on raising $6 million from some of these big name investors like Mark Cuban and Crypto.com and Huobi Exchange and all these big names. So congratulations on that. Um,
thank you.
so I know we already talked about your Twitter. You've got a lot of good stuff on there. I'm gonna link that in the description.
Mm.
Um, so make sure you guys check out his Twitter. And was there any other places that you'd like us to? Are there any other resources you'd like us to check out?
So here is the uh, token script design paper. So
Mm-hmm.
it's basically explained all our vision in much more details. So it's not very technical. So most of the people can understand, but but it's just a little bit too long. So it will take some time for people to read. So if you're really interested in tokenization, see the similar vision, and want to learn more, this definitely is the best thing to read. Oh,
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I'll include that as well.
mm,
Well, that was a very enlightening conversation, Victor. Thank you. So
yeah,
yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show, and hope to be able to get you back on at some point in the future.
sure. And thank you very much for your time. Maybe I talked too much.
No, I think it was great. Okay, thank you again.
Nice speaking with you, Mustafa. Cheers.
Cheers.